Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme: Stephen McManus retires, Neil Lennon under investigation, Ronaldo picks up 5-match ban. Yeah, lots of football to talk about, mainly to do with Scottish football. We'll also address the English Premier League and look at some of the matches across Europe as well. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. It's Monday. Gordon Smith is our bookroom guest and delighted to have him. So let's first of all give you a quick look at the back pages of the newspapers, the Daily Record. First of all, Cops in Lenny Ibrox probe. It was a little bit of a powder keg of a match, but Hibs coming out on top by 3-2. And just a reference there to Celtic waiting on Patrick Roberts and the possibility of him still coming back to the club. In the Sun, get a grip, and this is Alex Smith, the League Managers Association. Fans should lay off joyful Lenny. And Brendan Rodgers there, just a sidebar, the reference to the signing deadline, which is Monday night at 11 o'clock for any player able to play in the match against Astana in the playoff draw in the Champions League. And the Mail, there it is, Hibs boss in collision course with the SFA and possibly the police. This is all to do with his celebrations trackside in that match, and Chris Commons urging Celtic to try and get the tie done and dusted against Astana, so there's no problems or worries for the second leg to try and qualify for the Champions League group stages. So let's cut to the chase. Gordon Smith, you can look at the pictures and then we will analyse all of the fallout from it as well. But it finished Rangers 2, Hibernian 3.
Yeah, it was a good start for Rangers, no doubt about that. Probably Neil Lennon be unhappy with the team, how they picked up players here. I don't know whether it was a case of they were not picking up man for man, but he was allowed Morelos to get in there and put it away, and he's had a good week. That was his third goal in a week when he's just broken into the team. So it was a good start from Rangers' point of view. Then we had this incident here, which caused a bit of the bother there. I think Stokes was actually lucky not to get a red card at that point. I have to say that. It looked as in terms of his reaction to it. That's normally a red card, I would say, in most cases. Then I think the good goal of Murray. What a start he's had. Poor defending from Rangers' point of view there. I thought that they didn't have a proper support there for the man getting taken on. Candelas getting taken on, but there was a good finish, and Murray is laughing. Neil Lennon obviously was celebrating, as he calls it, to the support there, but that was Hibs back in the game. Then we had this incident as well. Strong challenge were in there, and then it all kicked off. The players, that's something you try to avoid in a match day, but it's always going to kick off when there's so much at stake. Two players came head to head there, and it was Anthony Stokes again, and Ryan Jack got the red card, and nothing happened to Anthony Stokes as well there. Poor goal from Rangers' point of view. This one, I like, Taverniers deflected it in on goal that has to get down as, and that was Hibs with the extra man. They started to put it down. This is the best goal of the game, my opinion. Fantastic strike there. I think Slivka just took it so well there, an early shot. And then, one of the strangest thing, Rangers kept going forward at that time, and you've got to give them credit from one point of view. You've got two fullbacks basically there, one crossing the ball in and the other one heading it when they're down to 10 men. So at least they were still pretty attacking, but they left themselves open a bit. But it's a poor result from Rangers' point of view, but there is an excuse on the basis of the fact that we're down to 10 men, and Hibs will be delighted with their win, because that's a very good win. Getting them to 6 points in the first two games.
OK, let's deal with the news items on this one. Ruffy, we're now living in a world where fans can abuse people non-stop, but as soon as somebody celebrates a goal, suddenly there's a flood of complaints towards the police and anybody else who will listen on this one. Alex Smith, the league manager, has come out in defence of Neil Lennon. I'll be blunt with you. Should Neil Lennon be celebrating in such a volatile atmosphere as that? Should he not just ignore it?
Yes, I think he should, and if he's going to be celebrating, he should be celebrating towards the pitch rather than the fans, But again, I think if you ask any manager, I think Jim Duffy came out and said the amount of abuse that managers get at particular grounds is unbelievable, and if you're the kind of individual who is getting hit with it all the time, your natural reaction is to react to it, and it's not just Neil Lennon. There's a lot of people, everybody's different, but probably shouldn't have done it. But the thing for me is, if somebody looking at you in the stand and making a gesture makes you violent, then you have to have a look at yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to react in that way. I'm not saying everybody in the crowd would, but certainly it's a reaction. It's a football. You know, somebody's just scored a goal and he's celebrating. You know, yeah, we know he's doing it as a noise up. There's no doubt about that. But you have to have a serious look at yourself if that annoys you.
There are two sides to it, because the fans do speak like that and shout at people, and players in particular, managers and all that, and that's it. It seems to be accepted most of the time. But the thing about it is that they go down the other line though. If you're on that side of the fence, the football side, and you go and maybe cause or incite the supporters, you're then responsible, whether you're a player or a manager. You know, if a player scores a goal, supposing it had been an Old Firm game or whatever, you score a great goal and you go to the other end. So if a Rangers player scores and you go to the Celtic end and you begin to gesture and celebrate, you're going to get done for that.
Well,
that's why I'm saying.
Well, let's cut to the chase. Does Neil Lennon get done for that? Because there's a batch of fans now who are just professional complainers. They want to go and be offended, and then they can complain to everybody.
But that's the thing, Peter.
Well, do you think he should be done for that?
I don't know if, well, in normal terms, you shouldn't be done for that, but he will be, because that is where that's the line they draw in football sense. You're not allowed to do that if you're in the football side of things, regardless of what fans are doing, what they're shouting at you, whatever. It's the person. Look at last season, Andy Halliday, when Rangers scored a goal at Capello, all he did was put his fist up like that towards the supporters, the Morton supporters, and the referee came over and booked him because he had gestured to the fans. You get done for it, and Neil Lennon, I think the SFA will take action against him for it. Yeah,
well, let's cut to Neil Lennon himself after the match, talking, of course, about, first and foremost, would you believe, the football and the performance of his team.
Played some exceptional football against, I have to say, a very good Rangers team. You know, they came out of the blocks very, very well. Disappointed with the first goal, because, you know, we should defend set players better with the height we have in the team. And you have to weather the storm, and we did that, and we scored a brilliant equaliser, and then we looked more like ourselves. Just ending off, I didn't see it, so I can't possibly comment on it, but John must have seen something there. You know, some players lose their discipline, it can happen here, and we took full advantage of that, and thought second half we were superb. My only criticism is we didn't put Rangers away, you know, more comfortably. We cut them open at will, and, you know, it was a real mature second half performance against 10 men, because it's never easy doing that.
OK, Ruffy, do you think Ryan Jack should have been sent off? I mean, I thought that was tough.
I've said this all along. I said any players who come head-to-head, deliberately come head-to-head, should be red-carded. I thought Stokes, I don't know why he got involved. You know, he was already on a yellow card. They went head-to-head. When we see a clip, if you see it from all different angles, he did move. He was the one who moved his head forward.
Who, Stokes?
No, Jack. He was the one who moved. Both of them went their heads together, but Jack was the one who motionally put his head forward, and unfortunately Beaton was standing right behind him, and that's why he reacted to it.
OK, you can give us your view on that, as well as the Hibs manager. The Rangers manager wasn't happy with Neil Lennon.
If I listened, what I listened today with the other manager getting to the fourth official the way he goes, so that allows me to go the same way, if I want. But I'm not having the same principles or the same education or the same point of view regarding to the things. My focus is defend this institution. My focus is defend my players. My focus is fight until my last day to bring this club to the place it deserves. I think nobody needs to speak about the police about nothing. I think it's quite evident what everyone is doing, so there's no need to speak nothing. I'm not talking about influence, I'm talking about having the same treatment, okay? Having the same treatment, that's all.
OK, you can tell two managers are passionate about it. There's a complaint against Neil Lennon for the celebrations, as we discussed. This is what the Hibs manager had to say about those complaints.
Well, I'm celebrating a goal, so what way are you supposed to celebrate a goal? If I pick my nose, somebody will find something to criticise it for. So, you know, I'm celebrating a goal. That's the end of it. Look, you're looking for things that aren't there, All right, I'm not going to answer any questions on what I did or didn't do. I didn't make a gesture or celebrated a goal. If they're unhappy with it, they can come and tell me. But I'm not going to get into trouble, or I shouldn't get into trouble for that. Okay. I don't know what he was saying. I assume he was unhappy about something. But there was a lot of things they were doing in their dugout I wasn't happy about. But didn't go running off to people and telling them about it. So we get on with it.
Okay, public relations aren't a strong point between the two of them at the moment, and the two clubs.
Yeah.
I must admit, the game itself has so many talking points. I think Rangers are right to appeal the red card for Jack. Ruffy thinks both should have gone.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they will appeal it. But I thought that when they came, both players, from the other angle, I think that they both put their head together. But I think Ruffy is right in one respect. John Beaton was behind Ryan Jack, and he saw his head movement, but he didn't quite see Anthony Stokes. But as mentioned already, he already had a yellow card that maybe should have been a red. So there will be a lot to do with it. I mean, we're seeing a lot of big talking points in the game. We love that. We love to see controversy and things happening.
Yep, okay. Lots to talk about. You can give us your view on that as well. From Hibs' victory at Ibrox, we'll now look at some of the other Premier League games after the break. Last week, Ruffy was on red hot form with regards to the questions, so I decided just to up the ante, and it hasn't worked out for you today, Ruffy.
No, again, I was thinking all your favourite players, but you never used it this time. No,
I
never
like
went again.
Jimmy Greaves.
At least Gordon got the right team.
Yeah, right team, wrong guy.
Wrong guy, but nevertheless, Jimmy Greaves, I mean, it's a wonderful record to hold. He was a phenomenal goal scorer.
He was absolutely fantastic. Good guy. I met him a couple of times as well, and he was always good to have a chat with. But you think about it, what kind of value would he be nowadays? And the player he was, the goals he scored.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be certainly up in the hundreds of millions, to be honest with you. Okay, we like to test your football knowledge at the end of every break, and we'd like to show you the goals on a Monday from the specific games. We've watched the Hibs victory at Ibrox, 3-2 against Rangers. So it's a good start to the season for Neil Lennon's side. Here's how all the other matches panned out. And as you can see, confirmation of Celtic's victory on the Friday against Partick Thistle. Hamilton 3, Dundee 0, Kilmarnock 0, Hearts 1, Rangers 2, Hibs 3, Ross County 1, Aberdeen 2, and St Johnstone 4, Aberdeen 1. So that was the Premiership. Let's look at that Aberdeen game, Ruffy, where again they showed their mettle coming from behind.
Yeah, they certainly did. Give away a silly free kick early on in the game, a ball into the box. Again, Aberdeen never defended it properly. And Curran come up the header, good goal scorer for them. Here it is, it's into the, I don't know why the fullback's picking him up, and he's obviously beat him in the air quite comfortably. Aberdeen come back quite strongly, good free kick into the corner into the box, headed back, Reynolds volley. I mean, I think he's done that before, not very often, but again, Ross County will be disappointed. It's just a ball into the box, nobody defends it properly, falls nicely to him, great volley into the net. But this one's a poor one from Scott Fox's point of view. Mackay Stephen picks up the ball, good turn of pace, to get to the byline. Gets there, fires it into the ball. And I don't know why Given is up there, but again, it's a super header. But if you have a look at it again, Scott Fox was just in no man's land.
Aberdeen, I think that again, we asked if they had improved from last season. I think the general consensus from all of us is they have. And again, the addition of Stevie May, I mean, Derek McManus was glowing in his praise of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's important they do get a front man in. I mean, a good example is that win on Saturday when it's a centre-half and a full-back scores their goals. Great if you've got goal scorers right throughout your team, and in certain days, you have to rely on other people doing it, but, he needs to get goals from the front guys. You've got Rooney still there, Stockbridge is there, and now you've got Stevie May there, so he wants that kind of, I would say, incision up front. Yeah,
we're looking at two teams out with Rangers and Celtic that I think, on the evidence of the first couple of games, are going to make it a very interesting season indeed now, Ruffy. I think they're going to be the four teams battling it out. Where the fifth one comes from, I don't know, but those four seem to be very positive.
Yeah, you're right there, Peter, but I think the teams like Ross County will have something to say about it. I mean, I don't think they're going to get it their own way, particularly away from home. I think all these teams have added quite good to their squad. So I think we're going to get lots of interesting games this season.
I think the top 5 will be Celtic, and then you've got 4 challenging then. I think Hearts will be challenging because they're going to have new management soon, decent players, Peter. So I think they're going to be the top teams. And then, you can't look by St Johnstone being the next team to fight for that top 6 spot as well.
Yeah, well, they got a good win against Motherwell by 4-1. And I think, Gordon, this might be just all about, Michael Halloran, star man.
Definitely. I mean, what a difference. I mean, even the St Johnstone players saying he's improved. They get the first goal there, they stick it in there, McLean gets on the end of it. A lovely little touch that was as well, wasn't it? It was really nice the way he just flicked it on. But, as I say, Harlan, which picks the ball up, and the goals he scored recently, I mean, the 3 goals he's got now, individual goals as well, where we can take people on. Ball get fired in here, and Motherwell got back in the game. It was a good finish there, and they end up, and I think that little flick on in at the back post. But as I say, I think that that was Rose that got that goal for them. But then St Johnstone, this was a big crucial moment in the game, ordering off for the goalkeeper Carson when he's come out there and he gets.
It is outside the box.
It's just outside the box. I don't think the referee could have been sure from where he was, but obviously the linesman had followed right up, and they got the goal. But here's a Halloran again, sticks it in there. I don't know whether there was a little touch. The keeper was maybe just on. He wasn't fresh enough yet, but that was a vital goal. That shows the 2 goals, and then there's another tackle from McHugh. Second yellow card in the game, and that's the second red. So that was them at that stage now down to that was a deserved. That might even have been a straight red. But then this one, I couldn't see any contact there. I watched that and I thought I couldn't see it. And O'Halloran takes the penalty kick, and it's a good save, and so that would have been his hat trick as well. But they did get the 3rd goal. I mean, Davison fires that one in, and it's a very comfortable win in the end. But it's against an 8-man Motherwell at the end of the day, but it's still a good win because St Johnstone generally are better away from home than they are at home.
Craig Thompson then, 2 out of 3 right in the decisions there, Ruffy, or all 3?
No, I agree with Gordon. I thought the last one was a joke, and I think it'll be interesting to see whether the player himself gets anything done to him, for diving, because he just wasn't touched at all. He went down there, you can see the smile in his face, thinking he got away with it, and he did get away with it. So I think we need to stamp things like that out.
As far as Motherwell are concerned, obviously they'll have to lick their wounds with that heavy defeat. But another blow, Steve McManus has decided to retire. He's going to be a coach at the academy at Motherwell. But I think McManus, to his credit, played with a lot of injuries last season, and he just couldn't shake them off. And I think, even from his own point of view, he didn't want to be going towards the end of his career and people saying, it's your fault, you're slow, it's not happening, when they don't really know the extent of what he was playing through. Yeah,
there was a lot of injuries, and at the end of the day, you've got to think of your future. You've got to think of life after the game. You don't want to be injured in any way that it's going to carry you right through the rest of your life. So he did have a lot of injuries, but that's the way Stephen played. I think if you think of all the best tackles they had, they were all like lunges in, and blocking, and obviously it's taken its toll. But no, I think it would be good. I think he could add something to the Motherwell.
He's a great lad, and he's had a great career.
Yeah.
And I think,
at club and international.
Yeah, he's got to look back and say how well he did, and it's a pity he's got to give up. But Motherwell are going to miss him because he certainly was tremendous for them. But as I say, he's going to be coaching now, and I think he's got a lot to offer.
Yep, we wish him the very best of luck. Kilmarnock 0, Hearts 1. So John Daly is able to celebrate in the interim boss position with a win against Killie.
Yeah, I thought this was a game that could have went either way. The first goal was good link-up play, keeping possession, waiting until the gap appears and then firing it into the box. A good through ball. I don't think they defended it particularly well, but he turned both the centre-halves and then slotted it into the bottom corner. I thought it was a very, very good goal, but I thought both teams had chances in this game. Neither of them took anything after this goal, and here's the talking point of the game. They're sending off late on Concalves and Broadfoot. I think Broadfoot's wrestling him to the ground there. They eventually get down, and he pulls his hair, and the guy reacts and catches him in the face. And I think it was the linesman more than the referee that saw both of the incidents when they were on the ground, and he took the decision to send both of them off.
Yeah, he's getting his hair pulled and he reacts to it, so he's a bit unlucky there, but both probably did deserve to get sent off. From Kilmarnock's point of view, a bad week, Peter, when you think about 3 defeats, and they're the only team now in the Premier League who have played 2 home games and lost both.
Yeah, and of course Hearts head to Ibrox next week. I don't think there'll be I don't think John Daly will be celebrating any goals if they score any at that trackside.
No, it's all about the individual, Peter. You know, everybody's different. Everybody reacts differently. You know, and I think if we go back to Neil Lennon again, the abuse that he takes is probably more than any other manager in the league, and everybody reacts differently. John Daly will be different as well.
Hamilton Accies came up with a surprise result in the Premiership, 3-0 against Dundee. None of us saw this coming, Gordon.
No, not at all. I mean, Dundee are a bit inconsistent, to be fair, but all credit to Hamilton Accies. I mean, as I say, that they don't score an awful lot of goals. The first one there, McKinnon from outside the box. I'm not sure whether he's passing this to someone and it's just beat down everybody and ended up in the net, but it put Hamilton in a good position, because we've seen many times they've been in front and then they've lost goals, but the next ball gets played through. This is a great finish from Boyd. I mean, young player getting into the team. That's absolutely tremendous to finish like that, to have the confidence. And then the challenge there, and they end up with the penalty given for Emery to go and slot it away. But that's a big win. I'd really be surprised to see how many times Hamilton Accies had won by 3 goals since they've been in the Premier League. Yeah,
and the other key point here, Ruffy, is I don't think Neil McCann was too harsh on his players. No. They had chances in the game, just couldn't convert them.
Yeah, I only saw the highlights, and even in the highlights, you know, it could have been 3 each. Obviously, the penalty misses was there for everybody to see, but they had some wonderful chances even before Hamilton scored. But at the end of the day, all credit to Hamilton. They dug in and got that result.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we need to give them a bit of credit, because all 3 of us have tipped them to go down.
Yeah, we have, but it's not just us 3. I think, I mean, Martin Carney's said that as well. Everybody in Scotland more or less has looked at it and tipped Hamilton to go down. So you got to say, they are favourites, but they beat the trend every year, don't they? I mean, that's what I said. I said they maybe be happy to know that we're all predicting it, because we've all been wrong in the last 3 or 4 years, just by considering the fact that Hamilton are the least resources of all the teams, but they do a great job, and that's a good example of it on Saturday.
Yeah, and again, I think we're going to follow a similar pattern, Ruffy, of, you know, 4 or 5 clubs will all be looking at the bottom end, scrapping for results. You know, one or 2 results can take them right into the relegation or playoff. I think as high as 7th as last season proved is the case.
Yeah, we had managers in here last year, and a lot of them were saying they're actually looking at the fixture list, looking at the 5 games that are all against the teams that are going to be round about them, you know, and that's the games they'll have to pick up points, and some of them will have easier runs than others, but at the end of the day, you've still got to win the games.
Yep. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look back at Friday's goal for Olivier Nietscham for Celtic. We'll hear from Brendan Rodgers, because of course Celtic have got a huge game coming up this week against Astana, Champions League playoff draw, 2 legs, the first one at home on Wednesday to try and get into the group stages. We'll also be looking at the Championship, League 1 and League 2. Hopefully we'll have a quick break and then we'll have some news, and then we'll be back with you with the Championship, and we'll hear from Brendan Rodgers. Join us if you can. Did you play alongside him, Ruffy?
No, he was just before me, but I had the chance to do the trial of who had the hardest shot in the Scotland jersey, and Peter Lorimer won it quite easily.
Yeah, I think it was 100 miles an hour, wasn't it?
Yes, it certainly was.
Yeah, a fantastic player, Peter Lorimer, for club and country as well, and part of a superb Leeds United side. At times, I think, maybe tagged as a dirty team, although at times they were dirty. I thought they were class as well. Yeah, I think Brian Clough wasn't a big fan, was he? No. Then when we went there, he just said he'd cheated their way to all their honours, but they had a first-class team. And in those days, I say, we always talk about squads, but they hardly made any changes. And they had Scottish players in the team. They had Harvey in goals, and they had Billy Bremner in that team, and Peter Lorimer and Joe Jordan and Eddie Gray. Yeah. It
Great
was
players.
a really good team, and of course the number 10, Johnny Giles, was a class act as well. So there you are. If you want to comment on any of the football or any of the burning issues in football, we'd love to hear from you. It is, of course, Peter and Ruffy's football show, Monday to Friday, 7:30, and on a Saturday we bring you all the action as the goals hit the back of the net. We'll bring you all the details, reaction and opinion. Alan Ruff and Gordon Smith are with me here tonight in the studio. So, from all the Premiership games, there was one we missed out, of course, which was the Friday night game where Partick Thistle lost out narrowly to Celtic. It was one of those games where I was at Firhill. It was a game that promised much but delivered little in the end. Gordon Smith, one goal, Olivier Nicham.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise considering how well Celtic had played. I mean, I think there was a slight deflection on that. The goalkeeper's not happy at all. Was he out suggesting that there was maybe a handball or something like that? Because I think it was Scott Brown that hit here. Nicham hits it very well. I mean, he's just got to volley as it comes out, about 25 yards out. But definitely is a deflection. But nevertheless, I expected Celtic to be doing better because they were bringing back a lot of players after that very good performance against Kilmarnock. But maybe they've got the next week's game in mind a little bit. You know, they've got a big major game in the Champions League this week. Yeah,
against Astana, and I think with that in mind, Ruffy, you know, there are a couple of things that are open to debate. The Patrick Roberts saga goes on. Will he, won't he? The other aspect of this is the change, the U-turn from Brendan Rodgers. No managers can change their mind. I think maybe the injury to Dembele and, of course, this ongoing problem with Lee Griffiths' calf prompted the manager to say after the game that, you know, he would contemplate looking at getting in a wild card to play for Celtic before the game against Astana on Wednesday.
My vision on this is having two strikers available and fit and pushing each other. But if there's a non-availability and it's consistent, then of course I need to seriously look at that. It's really about the availability of a player. You know, we'll look to bring in quality if it becomes available. It's something we've been working towards really over the course of the last few weeks. So, but yeah, there may be something happening before.
Well, I think his arm has been forced in this one, basically because he can't get two fit strikers.
No, it's not an ideal situation, Peter. If you were at Firhill on Friday night, you could see that Celtic had all the possession, all the quality, passing, good. But then when it went up front, it just sort of petered out. But when Lee Griffiths come on, he injected something, a bit of pace, somebody running down the channels. And I think that's just what's trigged Brendan Rodgers to say, look, I really need to get somebody in here. But it's not ideal bringing whoever it is, you know, because he's not got time to mix with the players. He's not got time. You're going to maybe a couple of training sessions. But we keep hearing about when you sign a player, it takes them ages to settle. You know, so unless this is a quality player that's coming in, it doesn't need time to settle. Again, it's not the ideal.
Some players can bed in right away.
If they're good players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, Costa's available. He's doing nothing. The other aspect of this, just before we move on to the Championship, Ruffy, is quite simply the ongoing saga with Stuart Armstrong. He's apparently been offered a bumper new deal. He's got to debate whether he's going to stay with Celtic or move on. Nicham's making it slightly easier for Celtic.
Yeah, I was impressed with him. You know, I think we still have to remember he's quite a young player. He's still adapting to the Celtic style of play. But when you see wee bits of him, he looks as if he's got a bit of quality. A couple of stray passes here and there. But yeah, I was certainly impressed with him.
And just briefly from yourself, Gordon, the big question every year is, has a team improved? Have Celtic improved from last season? And the unknown quantity for us is, have Astana improved as a club from the last time they met against Celtic in the knockout stages?
That'll be the test, Peter. I think Celtic have improved, and they'd be disappointed if they never made it this year. Last year they got through to the group stages, and it was, you know, very, very tough. The section they got was as hard as any team could have got. So this year, I think that, you know, it won't be as hard. So they'll feel if they can qualify, which they should do this time as well, they should beat Astana, and then they'll go into the Champions League group stage believing that they've got a chance of qualification this year, I think.
Championship. Let's have a look at the scores from the weekend's football in the Championship. Brechin City and Livingston couldn't be separated. It was a good win again for Dundee United against Queen of the South, and Dunfermline hammered 5 past John Robertson's Inverness. Couldn't split them between Falkirk and Dumbarton, but the game of the day for us was at Capello. Morton running out 4-1 winners against St Mirren, and it was a delighted Jim Duffy that spoke to us after the match.
Started the game pretty well. I was quite pleased with the first half, even though we went in 1-1. It was a fantastic strike for Cammy Smith, so we couldn't really do too much about that, really. And I thought we had a couple of really good chances. As I said, I was quite happy with the players at half time, and obviously once the second one went in and we went down to 10 men, then we just had to stay calm and try and capitalise on the space, and eventually we managed to do that. And today was a game where I think we created a good number of chances. We scored 4 goals, and I think that I think we deserve to win.
Yet again, they'll be there or thereabouts this season, Roffy, surely.
Yeah, well, if they have the start that they had last year, I mean, they were up there, they were top 4 for a long, long time, and when you get that situation, players start believing in themselves, and that's what Morton did. Yeah, and that particular result the weekend will make the players believe that they can do it again. Yeah,
there's a lot of plaudits towards Jack Ross for what he achieved last season in keeping St Mirren in the division, and I think a lot of people think St Mirren, including the manager himself, thinks they'll be in the mix at the end of the season for promotion, but no excuses from the Saints boss after this defeat.
Well, I think first and foremost, when you lose a derby match with that scoreline, then obviously incredibly disappointed, but I think there were circumstances in the game that lead to that scoreline. However, if we defend in that manner, even when it was 11v11, then it's going to be difficult for us to win matches consistently because we didn't defend well enough over the course of the whole match. I think going forward, middle to front, we're always a threat, we always look good. I was pleased with a lot of those players today as well. Even their reaction to going down to 10 men, I still thought we carried a threat going forward. However, if you defend in that manner, then, as I said earlier, you're not going to win games.
The key element for Jack Ross is to convince the players that they can be involved in this battle for promotion. Last year it was a simple cause. Listen, we're fighting for our lives. Do you want to fight with me or do you not?
That's the big factor, and I think because of the form at the end of the season, Peter, he was going to turn that around to say, look, if we continue to play like that sort of level of momentum, we're going to be a challenging team. And the way the Championship started last week, a very, very good win against Falkirk, who are one of the favourites to be in the promotion race. A good win after being a goal down. A lot of people thought, including myself, and I think the 3 of us here, thought they could go to Capello and get something from that game as well. But you got to give Morton credit. They've fought back. They've now got 4 points. The only team that has got 6 are Dundee United at the top. But Morton are right up there, about second place at the moment now.
Yeah, and credit to Dundee United, Ray McKinnon. I think they're everybody's favourites to win that division. It's all right being tagged with favourites. You've got to deliver, and they've had a good start, Ruffy.
Yeah, they certainly have. They lost 3 very good players at the end of the season, but they've added 3, and obviously Scott McDonald's one of them, and I think he'll be a big player for them. But you're right, I think if Dundee United got on any kind of momentum at all, they'll be hard to stop. Yeah,
and Scott McDonald, just the aforementioned player, if you can get a goal early on, that can settle you down. I still think he's a player that's a level above the Championship.
Oh, definitely. He's got a lot to offer. I mean, I think Premier League clubs were interested in him, so I think he could do a great job. And give Dundee United credit. I think they were the only team on Saturday who had a man sent off who actually still won the game. All the others who had a man sent off lost.
Can we have a word for Dunfermline, Alan? Because 5-1 at the best of times against a team that I think John Robertson's still trying to tinker with, losing a couple of key players, especially Draper, I think is a huge loss for them. But it's a Dunfermline side that Alan Johnson goes about his business, doesn't shout from the high hills about what they're going to do, just gets on with it, and they're in second place, albeit after 2 games.
Yeah, and I was talking to a couple of Dunfermline supporters yesterday. They're really encouraged by what's happening there. A lot of young players coming through as well. I think the biggest fact for them is the crowd's starting to come back, and Dunfermline were always a good team who were well supported, and if they can get that crowd back up to 5,000-6,000, that'll be very good.
Well, I think they're one of those teams, Gordon, that you consider as a big club. Forget about the history. It's about, if they're in the top division, the crowds do come out to watch them.
Oh, definitely. They have got big support, and as I say, there was a lot of years there the fans were unhappy about how the club was being run and they were staying away. But I think if the club begins to go up and challenge this season in the Championship and they get into that top 4, I think the support will be massive for them, because, as I say, for a long, long time, in my day playing up in Scotland, Dunfermline were always in the top league.
Inverness, no points, 2 games, just a blip at the moment. I still think Rob was a good manager.
Yeah, I think we all think he's a good manager, but like everybody else, you need to win games, and he would think going in there that they would be one of the challengers.
OK, don't forget, you can join in with us. Give us your thoughts on anything that's bothering you about your club or Scottish football, or indeed European or world football, at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Some of you obviously will be emailing and tweeting us and sending us messages on that last line from Ruffy there, which is he has 2 friends who are Dunfermline fans. That shocked me and Gordon as well. We'll give you another question. We'll be back after this break. Dreadful night for you, Ruffy. I'm absolutely gutted after such a great performance last week. You just couldn't get that one either.
No, but as I told you last week, I cheated. I played simple, you know. I just had so many bad nights.
I didn't get it either, so you're all right. I didn't get it. I said Ryan Giggs, so I got it wrong.
Isn't it amazing though that I don't think Steve McManaman gets the credit he deserves for what a fantastic career that he had.
He's brilliant. I mean, to be able to go abroad and play as well, I think is a great thing too. That shows you a degree of a good mentality as well as a good spirit and the type of ability you require to play at the highest level as he did.
Yeah, if you get a chance, Ruffy, I know we always like to read great autobiographies. 4 years in Madrid by Steve McManaman is a phenomenal read. I'm sure you can get it in one of the old bookshops. It's just about the pressures of a boy who wouldn't give up even when he wasn't playing him.
Yeah.
Just determined to stick it out at Real Madrid, and in the end, he man of the match in the Champions League final scores against Valencia.
But he was a typical Barcelona player. You know, he excites you. You know, he's on the ball.
Real Madrid.
He's running by people.
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Yeah, he's running by people.
Yeah, he's not a typical Barcelona player.
No,
he's a typical
Real Madrid. But you know what I mean? He's the kind of player that fans would
Yeah.
appreciate, and that's the kind of play. We don't see so many of them now.
Yeah, were you out at the weekend? You've had a particularly bad day by me
Yeah,
because Gordon and I are looking thinking Shea Given doesn't play for Aberdeen. What are you on about?
Well, I knew Shea Given didn't play for Aberdeen, but a lot of people don't know this, but that's his middle name.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Shea Given Loven.
And his name's Logan. No, Ruffy, you need a rest. Listen, we're only 3 weeks into the season. You need to go on holiday. OK, let's switch our attention to the League One. Here's a quick look over all the scores from League One in Scotland. And again, I think a great win for Albion Rovers at Queen's Park. Gordon, Gus won't be happy as mentioning that, but I have to mention Ian McCall at Ayr United. Hard to take going down last season, but they started off with maximum points from 2 games. Yeah,
I mean, they've done well. They did a good League Cup section as well, until they played. Obviously, Hibs well beaten by Hibernian last week, and the week before in the League Cup. But you have to say they bounced back very well to get that lead, and that's. I think Ayr will be the team to beat in that division actually this season. Yep, and I'm about to get it right this season. As far as League 2 is concerned, here are the scores, Ruffy. And Peterhead's win at Elgin City. It means it's 2 wins from 2 from them. And I think if they don't bounce back this season, I'll be gobsmacked.
Well, I think I saw it on the papers that the chairman's actually agreed to help Jim. I think he's splashed not a lot of money, but more money than what he usually gets, and he's brought in 3 or 4 players, 3 or 4 experienced players, and I think he'll get the benefit of that.
OK, just before we switch our attention to the English Premier League and some stories from European football, it's a significant day today, quite emotional really for us, Ruffy. 40 years ago today, Gordon Smith signed for Rangers, and there you are, Gordon, looking absolutely resplendent in your Rangers tracksuits, and also I remember that Rangers strip well. Happy memories? Yeah, it was a great move for me because I was still part-time with Kilmarnock then, and I'd wanted to go and getting the move into full-time, getting to play for Rangers, a team I supported as a boy, was great. And I was amazed when I shook Jock Wallace's hand, who signed me, Peter, and he said, "That's taken a while." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I've been trying to sign you for the last 4 years. Did you not know?"
I said, no, I didn't know. He said, I've been in every year, twice a year for you, made a bid, and I've never accepted it. And no one had told me that. And there I was signing. So it was great. It was fortunate for me in one respect. They got beaten on the Saturday from Aberdeen, and on the Monday I signed for them. I didn't play the next game against Hibs, which they also lost to that game. And then I have to thank the man sitting next to me here, because my debut was against Partick Thistle.
Well, don't tell me he scored.
2. Thanks, Ruffy.
The amount of people who were helped by Ruffy early on in their careers when they had a goal drought was unbelievable. Yeah, that's great. 40 years, it's just flown in, and again, you haven't changed a bit, Gordon, since that photograph there. And that's operations for you. So let's switch your attention. Let's switch your attention to the Premiership in England. Of course, Premier League, great fanfare, and then some teams lived up to the hype. Of course, it was a great 7-goal thriller with Arsenal coming back. Liverpool still have defensive problems, and I think the shock of the whole campaign had to be the Chelsea result against Burnley, Gordon, because I don't think anyone would have anticipated that scoreline.
No, that was amazing, that wasn't it? I mean, to let me lose, but 3-0 down as well, you know, which was incredible. Chelsea, there's something wrong with Chelsea at the moment. They just haven't got it going. I don't have any great hope for them for this season, Peter, and I have to say, I think the league's going to be, for me, it's a Manchester derby for the league title. Manchester fight off between United and City. I don't see Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham challenging for the league. I think these two are going to be fighting for it. Yeah,
well, I mean, significantly, I was going to ask Ruffy a question, but he's dropped his microphone in his shirt, which is an absolute shocker. Look at him. He was actually trying to do it sneakily there, but I think with a bit of luck, he's back with us. I'm actually now looking and saying to myself, is it worth inviting you back tomorrow, Ruffy? Really? I think I picked City. But boy, United looked good. Lukaku, what a game at Old Trafford for him.
I was thinking the same, Peter. My two old clubs were playing on Saturday, Brighton against Man City, and you know, Man City got a good result away from home. I saw the highlights of it when I watched the game yesterday with Man United, and I was very impressed by them. I thought, you know, they might even strengthen yet in terms of bringing players in before, but I thought Matic was absolutely outstanding, and I thought Lukaku, tremendous. It's so difficult to stop. His scoring record's amazing. And I was very impressed with United.
I don't know how United were able to get Matic as a signing. I mean, I think that's more to do with the disarray at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, I think Man United will want to watch. I mean, he's got everything, you know. He's just a physical presence in there, and he makes the challenges, and he scores goals as well. So, yeah, they want to watch that.
I might even allow us to change our mind once we get to the end of the transfer window, Gordon, on our predictions, because some of the players that could be coming in and going out could have a dramatic effect on what's happening in England.
Definitely, I think it can make a difference, because they've got the budget. But, you know, it's funny enough, somebody said to me that Mourinho wins his league championship in his second season with each team he goes to. Right? So this is the one, but I think Matic, as Ruffy says, was outstanding.
Yep, and of course player power, I think, dominates, especially in some of the top leagues in Europe, and Coutinho's handed in a transfer request to Liverpool, but they're digging their heels in. But you wouldn't bet against them going eventually for something like 100 million, Ruffy.
No, I think when it gets to 100 million, I think it gets out of the manager's hand, and I think other people will make that decision where he goes. But I agree with you that when somebody bids 100 million, the player right away, you've got an unsettled player, and you have to come up with a decision of what to do. And I think he'll force his hand there, and he'll end up moving. Yeah,
two clubs I think are well worthy of mentioning. If on the Saturday night you're not a Huddersfield fan who takes a screenshot of Huddersfield at the top of the Premier League in England, then you're foolish, because it's great to have Game 1 played, Huddersfield at the top, obviously before they're relegated at the end of the season again.
It was an embarrassing result for Crystal Palace. No, I can't imagine what the response was from their supporters on that one, because for them to be at home and expecting to do well, and they get beaten 3-0 by Huddersfield. But you give Huddersfield a lot of credit, you know, for they worked so hard and put a lot into it to get promoted in the first place with the limited resources they've got, to go in their first game. And as you said, Peter, all they need to do with the fans would be to cut out how many games were actually played when they were top of the league, because that's the main thing for them. One game, top of the league. Obviously the next day Man United win 4-0. and they drop a place. But I think what a start that is for him.
Yeah, and the weekend surely belongs to Wayne Rooney. You know, given pelters by the Everton fans when he joined Manchester United, but fans can be fickle, Ruffy. Suddenly he's the top man again, scoring the winner.
Yeah, and if you get a chance to see it in the build-up to that, you know, I think he was about 40 yards away from the goal. He made the pass out wide, and as he made that pass, he was the only player who made a move into that box. He had only one thought in his mind, was to get in there, because he knew that's where the ball was going to go, and it went right onto his head, and it was a fantastic finish.
Okay, last point here. Ronaldo sent off, pushing the referee. This was the Super Cup where Real Madrid defeated Barcelona by 3-1. He's facing a 5-match ban.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what we were talking about earlier on. There's certain things that are just in the football sense you can't do. You can push it, you can push an opponent, but as soon as you get involved with a referee, push a referee over, you're in trouble. I mean, you think, why is he doing that? Why is his reaction have to be like when Real Madrid are the better team in the game and they're winning and he scored? Why do that?
Yeah.
So he's going to get the ban. I don't think there's any doubt, because they need to. They have to show that this is how they deal with it. They need to try and put players off doing similar things.
And of course, he endeared himself to the Real Madrid fans because he copied Messi when he took his jersey off and showed them the number. And I'm told, you know, that there's the phone-ins over in Spain were just going mental. You know, he should be, you know, should have him up in front of the Spanish FA for celebrating like that. The Barcelona fans are incensed by it, roughly.
Yeah. But I mean, you either love him or hate him. You know, we know one particular guy's not a big fan of Ronaldo's, but he's here on a Saturday, but because of things like that. But I don't mind pushing the referee now and again.
Yeah.
Did you ever do it? Did you ever
push the referee?
Yeah.
No.
No, you're Ruffy. You, to be honest with you, you've never incited a fan in your life. Ruffy just likes to be loved by everybody. If only Gordon and I shared that opinion, then you know, it'd be an easier life for us. Join us tomorrow on the programme, where no doubt the Neil Lennon situation will grow arms and legs again. We're on at 7:30. My thanks to Gordon Smith. As ever, 40 years ago he played for Rangers and signed for them. How time has flown past, but he's still here with us, and we're delighted he's on the Monday night show. Join us at 7:30 tomorrow if you can. Good night.